In the time that followed, training became their main task. The people of Eclipse Moon never gave up on taking over the Central Plains. They retreated after the last battle. The purpose of the retreat was not only to heal their wounds. It was also to use this as capital to recruit more helpers and launch an even more grand battle. Above the ice-cold ocean, the morning mist was so thick that nothing could be seen. The temperature in the air made people feel as if their blood had turned cold. The Sky Dragon Pirates, 4th Squad, rode the vast fog and sailed into the southeastern sea. They set sail for the most prosperous Jiangnan region. The pirates on the ship had distinct levels. Only the officers are allowed to wear combat uniforms, and they are still the old models from more than 10 years ago. As for the ordinary pirates, they can only wear thick cotton clothes for combat. Ice crystals are thick on their messy hair and eyelashes, but everyone is holding a leather wine sack and using hard liquor to ward off the cold. At the bow of the ship, Phoenix Ren is still dressed in a thin outfit. His supernatural powers allow him to brave the cold without fear. At this time, he was holding a huge black lump in his hand. It was an old satellite phone that looked very outdated and did not have many modern functions. However, it had excellent security and could even block satellite surveillance at the regional level. Moshi Moshi. After the call was connected, a deep male voice came from the other end. The Jiangnan region is waiting for you to come over. Phoenix Ren narrowed his eyes. Oh? So what kind of forces are they preparing to use against us? A lot more than last time. Ha, that's really interesting. Phoenix Ren glanced behind him. Dozens of ships were breaking through the waves on the vast frozen ocean, heading towards the coastal cities of the Jiangnan region. I've also made quite a few preparations. The voice on the other end of the line came again. If you want to win this time, you must eliminate one person. What person? Someone who can break your power of prophecy. Phoenix Ren's gaze became terrifying. He thought of that person. If it weren't for that person, his team would not have such a high casualty rate. It could even be said that if it weren't for that person's existence, they wouldn't have been afraid to attack. After eliminating the Heavenly God Squad, they could have advanced unopposed and occupied a number of cities in the Central Plains region. In Phoenix Ren's view, the existence of that person was even more troublesome than a captain-level figure from the investigation team in the Jiangnan region. Where's that person? Phoenix Ren narrowed his eyes and asked. The voice on the other end of the phone sneered. Don't worry, I'll help you get rid of him. Next, you need. Phoenix Ren listened quietly as the man finished speaking. The smile on the corner of his mouth grew wider and wider. That sounds great. Thank you so much for providing us with information again and again. There's just one thing I've always wondered. He narrowed his eyes and asked meaningfully, just who are you, and why do you keep helping us? Could it be that you are also an enemy of the Jiangnan region? There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. The man's voice came back again. Does it matter? You won't trust me completely, and you will judge the authenticity of the information yourself. But there is one thing you can be sure of. You and I have a common interest in dealing with the Jiangnan region. The sound from Phoenix Ren's side suddenly stopped. The intelligence report was over, and he departed just as he had before. Phoenix Ren suddenly burst out laughing. This caught the attention of the captain of the 4th Squad, Kanuda. You seem very happy. Phoenix Ren turned back and said to him with a smile, Of course I'm happy. Hey, my friend. I have some great news for you. This time, you can make a fortune. And I need you to change the direction you're going. Phoenix Ren narrowed his eyes. The target for your pirate crew has been changed to Tianhai City. I need you to help me take out a difficult person first. Kanuda looked at him with a gloomy face. A difficult person for me to deal with? Phoenix Ren put a finger to his lips. Don't be nervous. It's a bit tricky for us, but not necessarily for you. Besides, you should know how wealthy Tianhai City is. Kanuda laughed. Ronan, you'd better be telling the truth. If I find out you're trying to trick me, you'll never be able to sail again in your life. I wouldn't dare. Phoenix Ren spread his hands, but a flash of condescending mockery flickered in the depths of his eyes. Now, as long as we follow Mayumi's guidance, we can avoid the Navy and safely land on the opposite shore. When that time comes, feel free to plunder whatever you want. For the past half-month, in preparation for the next mission to encircle and destroy Eclipse Moon, the entire Blizzard City has placed the focus of all its efforts on this. The Tengu Squad and Reincarnation Squad were given nothing but the best resources. Inside and outside the city, the only topic of conversation was when they would fight the Eclipse Moon again and avenge their previous humiliation. At this time in Blizzard City, annihilating the Eclipse Moon had become the most important thing. In order to achieve this goal, all other matters would be temporarily put aside. That night, the Combat Center's Defense Department suddenly issued an alert. Enemies had appeared near the Jiangnan region. Upon receiving the news, Zhu Jing was the first to get up from bed and quickly rush to the Combat Center. Not just him, but all the combatants were immediately in their positions. They were prepared for a night attack. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, was sleeping soundly. But the sound of the communication device immediately woke him up. His sleep is always light, and the slightest noise can wake him up. After waking up, Zhang Yi glanced at the time. It was midnight. And the name on the satellite phone display read Lan Xinqing. He picks up the phone and connects. Hello, Secretary Lan. Captain Zhang, the enemy is here. Please lead your team to the combat center immediately. Tonight, the battle will begin. Zhang Yi's gaze became sharp. I'll be right there. Without further ado, he got up from the bed, dressed, and then contacted by Li Changqing to summon all the squad members to assemble. He then went to the next room and woke Liang Yu and Yang Xinqin. The Eclipse Moon people are here. Get ready and go to the combat center to assemble. Zhang Yi was organizing his equipment while speaking. The combat uniform for the captain level is specially made. Thanks to his partnership with Deng Yuanbua, he was able to get a combat uniform of the same model as Deng Shintong's. It is the most technologically advanced product in the region. The uniform has many hidden pockets. It can hold daggers, medicine, bullets, bombs, and other items. It is resistant to high temperatures and extreme cold, and even the built-in combat suit he wore before was the region's latest models. Its defense and practicality are both superb. There are only 2 combat suits like this one in the entire Deng family. Zhang Yi is actually wearing the spare combat suit of Deng Shintong. After putting on the equipment, Zhang Yi checked the large number of weapons in the dimensional space again. All weapons are in a state of readiness and can be taken out and used at any time. The guns had the safety off, and other combat items and equipment were also kept in perfect condition. Zhang Yi confirmed his own weapons and equipment in record time. Yang Xinqin and Liang Yu did not dare to be negligent either. After Zhang Yi exited the room, the two of them began to equip themselves and check each other out. As for Flower, due to its shape-shifting nature, there was no suitable weaponry for it to use. But its natural fur was the best kind of armor. Beasts in battle are usually stronger than modern humans. 15 minutes later, the 3 of them and their cat were walking out of the villa. Zhang Yi with a look of confidence said, "Let's go," walking out of the villa. Zhang Yi with a look of confidence said, "Let's go." It was dark, but Blizzard City was lit up by hundreds of searchlights shooting into the endless night sky. After a short while the vehicle was driving on the main road, Zhang Yi and the others arrived at the combat center. Zhang Yi, Tu Yunlai and Gao Changkong headed straight for the operations command room. After the 3 men arrived, most of the people in the command room had already gathered. After all, these top-level personnel were the first to be notified, and only then were the frontline combat troops notified. Lan Xinqing informed Zhu Jing that Chaos, Zhu Rong and Chariot King have all arrived. A hologram appeared in the center of the conference room. Zhu Jing glanced at them and waved at them. He pointed at the hologram, and 3 red dots immediately appeared on it. This discovery suddenly revealed that there are 3 enemy forces along the coast. It seems they have moved in quite a few reinforcements, using their prophetic abilities to evade our Navy patrols to attack 3 places at once. At present, based on our reconnaissance, we have basically determined their identities. He pointed his finger at Huazhou City. In the waters near Huazhou City, there is the Ronin organization Yakuza Demon, from the surrounding waters of Japan. This is a gang of over 500 members based on Rope Island, engaging in piracy on land and at sea. Then his hand pointed to Linhai City. Linhai City, we found the markings of the Eclipse Moon and many of their members. It can be concluded that the main force of the Eclipse Moon is here. Zhang Yi and Gao Changkong stare at the location of Linhai City, their eyes shining with a strange light. Eclipse Moon is the enemy they wanted to eliminate the most. However, Zhu Jing then pointed to a third location, which made Zhang Yi's eyes change. Tianhai City. The members of the Sky Dragon Pirates, who are said to be ruling the southern seas, have appeared in these waters. This pirate group has a total of 7 fleets, and their strength is very fierce. They have already destroyed many small countries. Although in terms of scale, only one of their fleets has arrived. But to deal with them, we need to deploy a large number of troops. After listening to the words of Zhu Zheng, the atmosphere in the meeting room became solemn. It was originally thought that the reinforcements invited by Eclipse Moon were just a group of ragtag soldiers. However, the appearance of the Sky Dragon Pirates has put a lot of pressure on them. The Ronin organization Yakuza Demon isn't a problem. Even though they have a large number of people, the Ronin are idle people, and even though there are many of them, their strength may not be that terrifying. However, the Sky Dragon Pirates are basically composed of professional soldiers and gang members from various countries in the southern waters. After a long period of fighting, they already have a decent fighting strength. Zhang Yi's gaze fell on Zhu Zheng's body. The situation at hand is that either they split their forces and fight on 3 fronts, or they concentrate their superior forces and destroy one place first. It depends on how Zhu Zheng arranges things. However, the thought that Tianhai City has also become a target for someone else makes him feel a little worried. Fortunately, he had considered this outcome before and had instructed the people in Tianhai City in advance. Shokir and the others need not be mentioned. As long as they don't leave the shelter, even if the Sky Dragon Pirates' entire army attacks, they won't be able to harm them. It's top-level fortifications capable of withstanding missile strikes. As for Xiao Honglian, Xing Tian, and Chen Jingwan's families, it depends on whether they did exactly what Zhang Yi told them to do. The other side has deployed troops from 3 fronts, but Zhu Zheng is not panicking. Sky Dragon pirates? This rabble is simply tired of living, daring to lay hands on our Huashu kingdom. We will settle accounts with them after this matter. For now, let's first eliminate the invading enemy. Zhu Zheng's gaze shifted, landing on Zhang Yi and Gao Changkong. Chaos, Tianhai City is your territory and you are very familiar with it. So you lead the Tengu squad to Tianhai City and deal with the Sky Dragon pirates first. Zhang Yi let out a sigh of relief when he heard this. Although the pirates were numerous, in his opinion, their strength should not be comparable to the Eclipse Moon, which was made up of elites. It would be much easier to deal with them. Zhu Zheng's order for him to go to Tianhai City was obviously also taking care of him, taking into account his strength. Of course, this refers to Zhang Yi's strength as judged by Zhu Zheng himself. Yes, Commander. Zhang Yi accepted the task. Zhu Zheng then looked at Gao Changkong, Chariot King. The people in Linhai City are from Eclipse Moon. You lead the reincarnation squad to block them. But don't be in a hurry to fight them to the death. After all, they have the power of prophecy, and they are not easy to deal with. Use your abilities to delay them and avoid a death match. Then wait for the Tengu squad to finish off the pirates, and then join forces with you. Together, we will deal with Eclipse Moon and avoid too many casualties. Gao Changkong, yes, Commander. People have already been sent to deal with the 2 routes. Next, there is still the Yakuza demon organization in Huazhou City that no one has dealt with. Zhu Zheng's eyes looked at Tu Yunlai. Zhu Rong, you lead 500 Yan Yunwei under your command and head to Huazhou. Zhang Yi heard this ability codename and subconsciously began to analyze Tu Yunlia's abilities. Vulcan, Zhu Rong, an absolutely powerful ancient god. Tu Yunlia's ability is fire? No, one cannot make such a simple judgment. Zhang Yi mused, just as I would use chaos to conceal my true abilities, Tu Yunlia's ability codename might also be a form of concealment. Tu Yunlia's half of his face was hidden in the wide robe, and it was impossible to see his expression. However, one could feel the burning fighting spirit in his eyes. Yes, Commander. Lan Xinchen, however, raised an objection. Commander Zhu, if Yan Yunwei is mobilized, who will guard Blizzard City? Blizzard City is run on a military-style management system. Everyone has their own duties and performs their own tasks on fixed routes. And now that Tu Yunlai, who is responsible for defending Blizzard City, has been transferred away, it is inevitable that the defense of Blizzard City will be weakened. Facing Lan Xinchen's questions, Zhu Zheng folded his arms on the table and said with a firm gaze, the biggest conflict at the moment is the invasion of foreign enemies. We must do whatever it takes to fight a perfect battle and win. The defense of Blizzard City is strong enough, and even if Zhu Rong and the 500 elite Yan Yun troops under his command are missing, it will not have a significant impact. Lan Xinchen frowned slightly, thought about it for a moment, and then stopped talking. It would be rude to continue questioning something that the leader had already decided. This was not the way of an elite official. Zhu Zheng slammed his hand down on the table. Now, let's get moving. We must end this war outside the country's borders before they wreak havoc. Absolutely, we cannot let them penetrate deep into the heart of the Central Plains. Zhang Yi and the others stood up together and responded loudly, yes sir. Their voices were clear and crisp, and then Zhang Yi, Gao Changkong, and Tu Yunlai left the meeting room without hesitation. Time waits for no man, and the 3 foreign forces had almost reached the harbor of the coastal city by this time. If they were a step late, who knows how many people would suffer. Linhai City and Tianhai City were lucky. After all, both places had suffered great calamities, and there were very few living people left in the 2 cities. Tianhai City had been warned by Zhang Yi beforehand and had taken precautions. However, facing an attack by 500 members of the Yakuza demon clan, Huazhou City was in for another bloody battle. That was why Zhu Zheng had rarely deployed Tu Yunlai. Huazhou City must be preserved, it was the face of their entire Jiangnan region. Zhang Yi and the others walked out of the meeting room and hurried downstairs. Zhang Yi contacted Zhou Qir in Tianhai City as soon as possible. It was midnight, and Zhou Qir didn't wake up for a while. She was overjoyed when she saw the call from Zhang Yi. Hey, Zhang Yi. Why are you thinking of calling me so late? Could it be that you? Zhang Yi spoke quickly, listen, Tianhai City is in danger. Eclipse Moon is back with his men to cause trouble. A group of pirates are offshore and will arrive in Tianhai City soon. None of you are allowed to go outside. Go to the basement immediately. I'll be in Tianhai City soon. Zhou Qir's face suddenly turned serious. Okay, I'll notify everyone immediately. Don't be afraid, they won't be able to break into the shelter. I'll be there in half an hour at the most. Zhang Yi quickly finished explaining what had happened and then hung up the phone. After that, he called Qin Jingwan at Chaoyu Base. Since the enemy came from the sea, the first place to suffer was the harbor at Chaoyu Base. Qin Jingwan was still awake at the moment. There were still thousands of people at Chaoyu Base, and every day he had to manage the affairs of the base, so he slept relatively late. As soon as Zhang Yi's phone rang, he quickly answered it. Boss, why are you still awake at this late hour? Zhang Yi was too lazy to waste time talking nonsense with him, and quickly explained the circumstances. I told you to get ready for battle before, how are you doing? Qin Jingwan's face grew solemn as he answered, his heart filled with anxiety, we have done everything you asked. Everyone is resting in the shelters, and the strategic supplies have all been moved. There is nothing in the harbor except for some large containers that are difficult to move. Zhang Yi nodded, very good. You remain in hiding and wait for my orders. After Zhang Yi finished the phone call, he realized that the elevator was only occupied by the three of them, him, Tu Yunlai, and Gao Changkong. Zhang Yi glanced at them, thought for a moment, and didn't know what to say. He didn't know Gao Changkong very well, and he hadn't even spoken to Tu Yunlai a few words. So there was nothing to talk about for now, and everyone should just do their jobs and get things done within their own scope of tasks. However, Tu Yunlai was the first to speak. He said in a hoarse voice, I will deal with a group of Ronin in Huazhou City as soon as possible. Then I will support you. If you encounter danger and cannot solve it yourself, just hide and wait for our support. As the Minister of Operations, Tu Yunlai is also a figure in the upper echelons of power in Blizzard City. In this battle, he also wants to make a great achievement and then gain more capital for his future. However, he does have the qualifications to say such things. The 500 Yan Yunwei soldiers he is leading on this mission are the most elite of the Yan Yun army. They include 10 elite mutants of Delta level and 30 outstanding mutants of Beta to Gamma level. The rest are also highly trained and well-armed elite fighters. Zhang Yi shrugged. He wasn't very interested in credit or anything else. As long as they can annihilate Eclipse Moon and restore stability to the Jiangnan region, especially the area where he lives, that's fine. Very well, I will ask you to come and provide support when necessary. Gao Changkong smiled, but did not pick up on Tu Yunlia's words. Instead, he looked at Zhang Yi, I'm still waiting for you to come over and join us in annihilating Eclipse Moon. Don't forget, Eclipse Moon is our biggest target. Without Zhang Yi's ability to shield and predict, dealing with Eclipse Moon is no easy task. Even if Gao Changkong had mastered the power of reincarnation, it would still be a great risk. Zhang Yi sensed a difference in the tone of Gao Changkong and Tu Yunlai. Just as Uncle Deng Yuanbo had said, the senior management of Blizzard City was divided into different factions. They were competing with each other both overtly and covertly. However, as an outsider, he would not be involved in the power struggle and would not be guarded against. What a hassle. Zhang Yi thought to himself. He had no interest in power, and even felt that it would only put people in danger. Before Zhang Yi could reply, Gao Changkong continued, I have heard the Iron Blood Squad mention the Sky Dragon pirates in the southern seas. Their strength is indeed impressive, but without the Sky Dragon King personally in command, the strength of his subordinates are just average. With your strength, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with them. The Sky Dragon pirates are very famous and have tens of thousands of members. But in an era where the top mutants decide the outcome of battles, it doesn't mean they have the strength to sweep everything away. Otherwise, Blizzard City wouldn't have needed to deploy the Heavenly God Squad to deal with Eclipse Moon in the first place. 300,000 troops could easily crush them. According to the data obtained by Blizzard City, it only takes 2 investigation squads to destroy a force like the Sky Dragon pirates. If only one of these squads came, the Tengu squad led by Zhang Yi today could easily defeat them. Therefore, in everyone's eyes, the 4th squad of the Sky Dragon pirates was just a smoke bomb that had been lured by Eclipse Moon to create trouble. Zhang Yi nodded, we won't know the other party's strength until we fight them. He never underestimated any opponent. Arrogance was a deadly sin. Zhang Yi arrived on the ground floor. The Tengu squad was already fully geared up and ready to go, waiting for Zhang Yi's order to move. And Zhang Yi didn't waste any time. Let's go.